All right. Welcome to Transforming Lives, guys. It's another season. I've lost count, so I'm just going to say another season. I'm excited about the transition. I can remember starting this in 2020. Like most folks, they started something new. Hey, I started a new podcast. And interesting enough, I have on the people that I had on the first season. I just thought about that. The two people, the first person, I think maybe the third or fourth person I had on the show. So listen, the transition is still talking about transforming lives, but it is a theme now. We're talking about from football to fathers. Look, I have on two gentlemen that when I talk about being in the battlegrounds, see, it's one thing to be in the battlegrounds on the field, but there's another thing to be in the battlegrounds outside of the field. Well, I had that opportunity to do that. So these two gentlemen that are coming on, I'm beyond excited to have them on because we're going to have a great conversation. We're going to talk about football, right? So if you're on here about football, we're going to talk about football, right? We got football in there, so we're going to talk about football. The next part is we're going to have some unique conversations that I think that are impactful for fathers. Because again, if you're talking about growing, you need information, you need the right information to help you grow. Well, these gentlemen that I'm about to bring on are well equipped to speak to the subject matter, football, and about fathers. Okay. All right. So listen, I'm going to bring them both on. I'm going to try to introduce them, but look, they my boys, right? They're my guys. I go to war for them, right? I go to war for them. So I'm going to bring them on real quick. So I'd like to welcome to the stage Pastor Mike Grant and brother Brian Danforth. I caught myself, man. I caught myself. I had to do that right.
Yeah.
Guys, how y'all doing? Welcome on.
Outstanding, brother. Good to be on with you, man.
Good deal.
Thank you, man. Looking forward to the conversation.
Right. I got two guys on here that we're going to talk about football. Now, guys, I'm going to let y'all know moving forward. We're going to have some other gentlemen to jump on. And I think we're going to be civilized tonight. But in the future, I'm not for sure how it's going to go. But we're going to be civilized tonight. But it's going to be impactful. So, guys, let's go ahead and jump into this thing, man. This football season is crazy. It's bonkers from the college scene to the NFL scene. So let's jump on it, man. What's happening in the football world?
I think the question is, what's not happening this far, man? I mean, on the college scene, you got teams that top 10 got bumped out week one almost.
Right.
And then you got, programs that are coming back into, strength. And then you got Coach Prime. We cannot talk about football without talking about Coach Prime. So I mean, it's been exciting. It's been exciting to watch quality football at the collegiate level and see some things shake up on a professional level as well, man. It's been exciting for me to watch.
Yeah, Mike, I was really hoping we were going to jump right into Coach Prime because every time I'm on my social media feed, that's all I'm seeing. Every outlet talking about Colorado, talking about Coach Prime, talking about his sons, Shador and Shiloh, and what they're doing right now. I tell you what, though, I'm going to go ahead. Let's just get controversial right off the bat. Coach Prime in Colorado, and I love Deion Sanders, always have. I love what he stands for. I love the man he is, what he's bringing to that program. But I tell you what, there is a big target on the backside of Colorado football right now. And that's not a bad thing. And I know he's okay with that. But, man, because you're seeing them so much, they're being talked about in every venue, good and bad. Right. Man, that's the most intriguing, I think, storyline right now is the Colorado, and who would have thought University of Colorado?
Right,
dude. They came out the blocks too. I mean, and TCU, obviously they're not the team that they were in the national championship last year.
Right.
The transfer portal and guys, entering into the draft and so forth has changed. It can change a team from year to year. And I think we saw that with TCU out of the blocks. But man, they beat them. Colorado stepped up to the plate convincingly and played quality football. That's the thing about it. You can play a quality opponent and just have guys that's just, that's dudes, and you win because of them.
Yeah.
That was what happened, in my opinion, with Colorado. I think they just play well-rounded football, and I think we'll see that, especially this week coming with Travis Hunter out. I know they won't be probably as explosive as they are with him, but I think they're still going to play quality. They're going to put a nice product on the field, and you're going to see. I don't know that they'll win. I'm not going to say that they will or will not. I'm just saying whether they do or whether they don't. Coach Prime has coached them guys into putting a quality product on the field. And you're right. The way that he is playing football, coaching football, has those guys playing football, is swag out. And so, everybody want to knock them off their pedestal. So it's exciting, and I'm excited to see what they're going to do these next 2 weeks in particular.
Right. Yeah. And it's interesting that you look at all the facets, like you talked about, the facets of the game. Well, let me back up. I stayed up a long time Saturday
night.
Trying to watch who's going to win.
Me too.
I was asleep. I was just like, man, but I think a point in the game that really stuck out to me is when Shedeur took them 98 yards.
Yeah.
But he acted as though it was a walk in the park, though. That's the thing that gets me right there.
Yes.
The composure.
Yeah.
And not just his composure. I think the composure of the team. I didn't see the panic.
Right.
Unless they just kind of hit it well. But it almost made me like, hey, let me go get me a Colorado shirt because I want to. I know you all are seeing these posts where I just jumped on the bandwagon September 2023.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna have to get my post ready because there's something unique that's happening in Colorado, and I'm gonna scratch the surface of the news. Sometimes they don't do a great job with it, but they did a great job of capturing moments that Coach Prime had with his sons.
Yeah, that's good.
Yes.
One time was when I can't remember his name, number 9. I don't know. He wreaked havoc, whoever he was, but he had that illegal hit on him, got him kicked out of the game, targeting, and Shedeur,
number 8,
number 8, and evidently had some. I don't know what he had on his lip, but his dad took probably his blood, but his dad took
and went like this. Yeah.
And got it off of him.
Yeah. Right.
That was a moment.
Yeah.
Where it's portraying a positive image about that.
Yeah.
It absolutely is. And I tell you what, I actually just saw, speaking of being on social media and seeing all the posts about Coach Prime, he just did an interview today, and one of the things he said is, "I'm a dad first, even on the sideline. I'm still a father first." And his caption for that post was that he was so proud of Shedeur and Shiloh for the game that they played on Saturday night, and that was it. And so I love that. I really do, because he is showing all the fathers that you can be in big time roles. You can be whatever your son's playing on the team with you. They're working with you, whatever they're doing. And you can still be a father, and you can correct them, because I'm sure he corrects them on the sideline just as he praises them when they come off the field. If they throw, a touchdown pass or get an interception or a big hit, a big play. So I love that. I love that we're seeing that. And on the national world stage, that we're all getting to witness Deion not only be a coach, but be a father at the same time.
Oh, absolutely.
Man, absolutely. And to that point, Brian, man, I saw a clip of Coach Prime addressing Shiloh using profanity on the field at practice.
Yes. I saw that too.
Shiloh was kind of joking it off, saying, "Oh man, my dad didn't know that I say certain words on the field," and he called. But to your point, what Coach Prime said in the moment was, he said, "I'm a dad first now. I'm a dad first." So that was really a beautiful moment, and I think that even speaks unintentionally, guys, of the theme that we're talking about now, from football to fathers. That Coach Prime, he is exemplifying that in real time, man. He's showing that, there are three people, I believe, who have some of the greatest impacts on the lives of young men. That's their fathers, potentially, that's their coaches, and that's their pastors. And it's amazing to see Coach kind of feel all three of those roles in a sense.
Each one.
On the biggest stage. Think about it now. College game day was in Boulder, Colorado for them, and all the pressure was on. But he was still dad when Shiloh caught the interception, pick six. He was hugging him, putting the necklace on him. I mean, it was full-fledged dad mode, but he was equally as strong to be a coach and a spiritual leader for them as well. So, man, that's beautiful, beautiful.
Right. So that's definitely, that's a unique role, man, because, and I'm gonna pause because, I put y'all on this solo layout. I'm gonna send a shout out to that Mars Hill coaching staff. I'm gonna give them some shout outs right now.
Yes.
Because just recently, I sent a message to one of the coaches, and I was just like, man, you're still having that impact on my life. So I want to take a moment and shout out Coach Clifton, the head coach there, Coach Barnett, Coach Fife,
Coach Clifton,
Coach B.
Yes, sir, Coach B.
Coach
still doing that thing. That's so true.
Who else is there? Coach Surratt.
Surratt, right?
Yeah. Everybody else, I don't know, Doc. Don't hold it against me, new guys. I don't.
That's right.
I don't know.
That's right.
That's all good.
Coach Weaver. I think Coach Weaver stepped away, if I'm not mistaken, but he was there. Some great guys, man. Some great guys, like you said, and for them to still be there after such a long tenure and still be relevant and still be competitive and still be impacting young men's lives, man. Shout out to those guys. Much love. Absolutely.
And can I add something there too? Sure. I had the chance to go back to Mars Hill a couple of months ago, and I hadn't been in several years. It had been a long time since I stepped foot on the campus. But as soon as I saw our coaching staff, Coach Fife and Coach B, I mean, you would have thought I just graduated 2 days ago. It was just amazing, the family that we've built, the brotherhood that we've built. And it doesn't matter how long it's been, how short it's been. The embrace that we had and just catching up and talking about life now as men was incredible. So shout out to all the coaches. We love you guys. Thank you for what you've imparted in us and how you've impacted our lives directly and indirectly.
Absolutely. So that's a good segue to begin to talk about this whole idea of grow. This acronym I established, the G represents guidance. And I'm pretty sure throughout our conversation we just had, we've talked about guidance. And fathers offer valuable guidance and support to their children, helping them to develop and succeed in various aspects of life. So I want to drop this question out here for us to kind of guide our conversation at this particular. So I don't have my whistle. Second quarter. We're in the second quarter right now. And I want to pose this question. How do fathers provide essential guidance to their children, and what impact does this have on their children's success and personal growth? Very loaded question. So let's kind of break this down. Who wants to jump in?
What comes to mind first off is, if you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but all three of us have 2 sons each. Isn't that unique?
Wow.
It is.
Have 2 sons, and we all don't have the I don't want to call it the challenge of raising daughters, but I often tell people, if I had a daughter, she'd be wrapped around my finger. I'd be saying, yes, whatever.
Absolutely.
But we get to experience firsthand, what it feels like to see what we were like potentially as children, and get to pour into, get almost like a redo, things that perhaps our parents may have missed out on for us, or things that they may have done well, us pull from and do the same thing. But guidance is key, because the truth of the matter is, they're young, they don't know what they're doing. They're just doing what comes naturally, and whether it's them, whether it's to their detriment, and to be able, first of all, to be present. You cannot guide if you are not present. And I want to give both of you accolades for being present fathers, not just husbands, but fathers in your sons' lives, so that you can be a beacon of light for them to look to for guidance. But I think the first piece is, the way that we can provide essential guidance is to be present. Because if we're absent fathers, whether that be in the home and absent, or out of the home and not active, you cannot guide them if you're not present and giving them something to look at, to be guided by.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would add to that, Mike. That's exactly where I was going to go to. I'm gonna flip it a little bit though, and just from my personal journey, I didn't grow up with my father in my home, and so I didn't have, I had my grandfather, I had uncles and things like that around me, but I didn't have that day-to-day presence of a male figure, in my life. I give 100% credit to my mother, who I love dearly, who helped raise me into the man that I am. But now, as I have my own two children, there's times, and I'll be honest, there are times where I don't know if I'm reflecting what I should, because I didn't have that reflection from me. Right. And so a lot of times I tell my wife, I feel like I'm just doing this father thing on the fly, and we all know there's no manual to parenting, period. Right. There's no manual. We're all, and every child is different. But sometimes I wish that I would have had a little bit more of that. But I also thank God for the male figures that were in my life that impacted me, that helped me along this journey. But I think you're right, Mike. It's being present. It's being a daily example and reflection of what manhood, husbandhood, and fatherhood should be.
Right.
So
yes.
true.
So when I'm going to jump on this whole idea of being present, and I think being present is different in different seasons of their lives. Mm-hmm. So for me, my oldest son is going to middle school now. I have 19 years of experience with middle school children.
Wow.
But I don't think it has prepared me for my own.
Yeah.
Wow. That says a lot.
I don't think it's prepared. It's not a bad thing, because there are parts of your life that, sometimes you have to address and see, like, you don't see it until you see it with your own. You're like, okay, where this come from? This is me. So that part of being a guide, or even looking around to say, like you said, Brian is saying, okay, there's no manual, and you're looking for a manual, and you're like,
where is it?
This ain't the manual. Like, this is not working, because what you faced in that time frame is totally different than what they're facing at this stage of their life. And I'm like, well, I just started. Got some years to go. So absolutely. And I think even go ahead.
Well, not just a point right there, because you said something that resonated with, and think about this, guys. Our kids, our boys are growing up in a whole different world than what we grew up in, right? Mm-hmm. So not only are we're trying to father them the best way that we know how, but there's so many other challenges and just things out there in the world that they are facing that we didn't even experience, but yet we're having to guide them through, right, every day. So that touched me right there, TK.
To add to that, guys, what I was reminded of, especially talking about not having a manual, is we know what's right from wrong, though. You know what I mean? And so
absolutely, yes,
innately within us that says, okay, I may not be familiar with the times as is pertinent to a middle schooler or an elementary schooler, and in my case, a high schooler. And so, which adds a whole nother can of worms to open to that. But I don't know if you all remember, one of Coach Clifton's most basic rules for us as players was the do right rule. He said, just whatever situation you find yourself in, just do right. Because right from wrong. Yeah. I think even, at least I found for myself, and I had two dads growing up, my biological father and what some would call my stepfather. We don't call him that. God just blessed me with two dads. I tell people God gave me two because he knew I was going to go off the handle if I didn't have enough. But, even having two examples and have the ability to call them and ask their counsel, I'm still in sometimes in scenarios where I'm like, man, I don't know what to tell this joker, except, hey, man, you know what's right. You know what's right. You know how we've raised you. And even if I can't tell you specifically in a scenario what to do to make the right decision, within your heart.
That's good.
See the example that I've set and the other men in your life have set. So just do what's right. And so I think that's the essential part that comes with, being present, that offers guidance. Sometimes we won't even open our mouths, but our presence
absolutely
to do right in our situations, it's an example for them to see and they follow their effort.
Listen, we're gonna move to the next one, but you just struck something up in me that's been on my heart just for the last, I think, like 3-4 weeks. And it's just keep reminding me, no matter what you say, he's always gonna watch you.
Yes, sir.
No matter what you say, he's still gonna watch you. And that's something that hit me at home, but it also hit me with on my job, where number one, children are looking for consistency. And that's how sometimes they judge you on it. Like, how consistent are you being? Because when we talk about the model, sometimes that model doesn't look consistent. So that opened up a lot. So we haven't even talked about success. We haven't even talked about growth. It's about building that essential part of their life, the foundation. Yeah. You got to get the foundation right.
Like guidance. I like that acronym, man, that you gave. Grow, guidance, role model, right? And what was the O?
O is openness.
Yeah. We can stay on each of them for a whole podcast if we ain't careful.
Right.
Yeah, we could.
Look, right. No problem speaking, neither one of us.
So let's jump here. I know that's good. So when we talk about role models, we're talking about being guiding our children or even guiding the people that are around us, because whether we want to be or not, that's three, we are role models. We didn't sign up for it. We didn't just we don't have it on our social media posts or our handle. Hey, we're role models, but thriving fathers serve as a positive role model, inspiring their kids to emulate good values. It's not just stuck at values and behavior. I'm sure we're going to dive deeper in it's not just at values and that behavior, but I want to just establish this question here. In what ways do fathers act as role models? And how does this shape their child's values and aspirations?
You want to hear it, Brian?
Go ahead, Mike. Go ahead, MG.
Well, I think, TK, you said it. You answered it in even posing the questions that we didn't sign up for it. So it's, just by existing, just by being, here we go again, present, we become that example for our sons. So in what ways do we do so? How we interact with them and how we interact with people that they're in relationship with, like their mothers, our wives, how we interact with their peers, and how we interact with our peers. So I think all of those ways that we present ourselves, these guys are watching us to say, so this is how I'm supposed to conduct myself with these types of relationships. So it shapes their values. It shapes they aspire to interact with their little girlfriends, I guess, when they get to that phase, like we interact with them. It's but it's by default. And so if we're not aware of that, now we don't become a positive role model, we become a negative one. So, I think to start the conversation, in what way? In how we interact with people that they observe us interacting.
Yeah, that awareness piece is big, Mike. I think too, and TK. Just because we know not only our kids, but you're right, their peers, they're all watching us, whether again indirectly or directly. They are doing that. I saw this really cute video the other day. It was a father and son, and the son looks like he was maybe 2 or 3 years old. They were sitting on the couch and they were watching the soccer game, and you could hear the crowd roaring, and the team had just scored a goal. And the three, I'm gonna say he was 3 years old, three-year-old kind of threw up his hands like, yeah, they scored. But the dad, it was actually the dad was cheering for the other team, so the dad was actually upset. He kind of leaned back on the couch and put his hands up like, oh man. So the kid went from like this, he turned and looked at his father and saw that his father was upset that the goal was scored, and all of a sudden that child's whole demeanor and body language changed to emulate what he saw in his father. Wow. And it wasn't, it was really cute. It really was. But what it spoke to me in that moment was, wow, from the youngest of youngest ages, our children are watching us. They're watching everything we do, and they emulate what they see. They emulate what they hear. They even emulate what they feel and how they interact with other people. And man, so I think this role model thing, whether we like it or not, you're so right, TK, we are that indirectly or directly. So I just thought that was a nice kind of visual of, and you probably recall times when your boys were younger, where they may have seen you shaving, right? And they come in and they want to put the cream on and they want to do the same thing you're doing, right? It's natural. It's natural that people want to follow. They want to emulate, and especially the closest people to you, right? Which are your kids. So, yeah.
Funny story to kind of, y'all made some excellent points. So, so I started using straight razors to line myself, right? So maybe, God, it had to be 5-6 years ago. Cameron was looking at me use it, and me just thinking, okay, cool, no problem. So take the straight razor, just lining myself up. I left the straight razor on the top of the back of the commode.
Oh man.
So he thought that he could do the same thing, so he didn't slice his hand, and I'm like,
oh.
What am I doing? And he says that I was trying to do like you did.
Wow.
And I'm like, no, don't touch that.
Man, that's a powerful statement there.
That's it.
Yeah.
That got me in some trouble, man.
I bet it did.
I bet you never let that out again.
And two, let me back it up even. This makes it even funnier. It added to her telling me before, stop putting that razor down so he can get it. So I was just like, come on now. Yeah. So I put it up top now.
There you go.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. So guys, this is some good stuff. Y'all got me to a point where I got my pen here, and I'm like, it's number one, it's great to be in fellowship with you all. That's number one, just to hear you all, because it still has that, I don't know, it stirs that inside of me to say, man, you know what? We haven't just really sat down and talked like this in a long time, but to hear your voice is still serving as a way to correct me in some ways, but encourage me at the same time. So absolutely. Yeah. So
same here. Absolutely, man.
Absolutely. This is great.
So even on this podcast, what we want to do is, when we're talking about, looking at us being a one that guides, one being a role model, I think one thing that I am learning, and just, very open with this, our next kind of theme right here on the grow is going to be openness. Fathers foster an environment of openness and acceptance, encouraging honest communication and emotional expressions.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm learning this one. One, two, to actually, the last part right there, honest communication and emotional expression is forcing me out of my own box. That in order to communicate,
Definitely.
I gotta talk.
Hello.
I gotta talk. So,
Hello.
and
Yeah.
this emotional part. Before I jump into I lay the question out there. Let's just kind of talk about this statement right here. What's you all's thoughts there?
Man, you said it. I think the word that stuck out to me is fostering the environment, because it has to be. We have to be intentional about it. Like you said, we have to get out of our comfort zone. We have to learn how we effectively communicate and how to effectively communicate with, I'm sure with both of you, with each of your sons differently. And then learn how they communicate without taking offense to how they are growing as communicators. So man, openness, I mean, that's a big word. That's a loaded word, because it's so multifaceted, in my opinion, that we got to be able to be intentional of not just being reactive when we hear something or see something, but being proactive.
Yeah.
Okay, I got to have here we go, football to fathers. I got to have a game plan. I got to have a game plan set before I deal with these, these challenges that I'm facing concerning my sons, because I want them to win in the game of life. And if I don't have a game plan, if I don't have a strategy, if I just go off the hip with everything I do with them, as the saying goes, if you don't have a plan, your plan is to fail.
Yep. And let's stick with the football theme, Mike. Good segue. Yeah. That's good. Because what I'm going to add to that is, so you got your game plans, you got your strategy. But before you get to any of that, you're practicing, right? You're practicing over and over and over. And so men, and you guys know this, as men, we are wired. We don't communicate well. We just don't. That's just how we work. It's something that we have to constantly work at. And I'm sure all of our wives, if they was on it, they would be an amen corner right now. If they were on here, it would be. And so, that's something we have to work on. So with our kids, with our boys, teaching them how to effectively communicate, being willing to be open. It goes back to our last kind of point of conversation of actually doing it. And so sitting down with them, having conversation like this, giving them the opportunity to share, and being quiet and actually letting them share, because they are people too. They're humans. They have their feelings and emotion. And Mike, you said something. You said, the reactive part of us. Sometimes we feel we just want to jump in, right? We just want to jump in and give, you ain't supposed to be doing that, But I'm having to learn myself to take a beat, allow them to finish expressing what they need to express, and then let me come in and let's have a conversation about it. But it's taking time for me to get there. I would be really honest. Yeah.
And that's something that I am doing when we talk about being intentional. One thing that I am doing is I'm asking how was their day? Well, it's almost like when you first start backpedaling, right? It looks kind of crazy. So I kept asking the same question. I kept getting the same answer. And I'm like, I done went to school all these years, and I should be able to formulate a different question. And then I had to begin to ask for different. I asked the same question. How was your day? Good. All right. Okay, good. So then I had to flip it on them one day. I started to say, what was one thing like today? What was one thing you didn't like about school today?
Mm-hmm.
Now my oldest, it still takes a little bit to get him out. My youngest gonna tell me straightforward, just like a G. He gonna tell me, I didn't like this and I didn't like that. Okay, all right. So being intentional, I had to slow him down, because he's gonna tell me the full story, and he's gonna let me know, hey, Daddy, you're not listening. And I had to learn that part to say, you know what? Ain't no kid gonna tell me I'm not. I'm just not. I'm not. But like I said earlier, those different phases of their lives, you have to change. And it's just like how much more changing do I have to do here?
Stay open. I mean, openness, this is a big one, man, because as long as we father them, that's what I'm learning through the different phases that I've had to go through. Like I said, we have a middle schooler and a high schooler now. And from infancy to high school, the phases have been different. And Brian, you said it best, Matt. They're people, but they're people in progress. They're growing. They're
Right.
they're becoming different versions of themselves as they grow. So I can't talk to my high schooler like I did when he was in elementary. He wants to slip into that cool relationship with dad. You know what I mean? So and it takes remaining open to change as fathers if we're going to remain effective. Now, if we want to just, say we did it and feel good about ourselves, okay, stay the same. Yeah. But if we remain open and intentional, we'll remain effective because we'll continue to have to change and improve as fathers as the seasons go through life,
Yeah. The word where you ended that just popped in my head was just evolving. We're constantly evolving. Not only as people, right, but as men, as fathers, as husbands, and so that's super important, man. And TK, I love that question. I do similarly every day. Just how was your day and that sort of thing. And boy, you have to kind of continue to pry, right, and like keep asking them questions. Yeah, you got to, man, dig, because they will just it was good, and then that's it, right? It was good, and so. I make my oldest Steven, he's like that. He's going to give you 1 or 2 words and that's it. So I just keep digging. But that's showing the example of how you communicate effectively with people and practicing that from our end, but also them learning how to have a conversation and be open and communicate. Yeah.
If I can add, TK, one thing that I found to be very effective is finding what's of interest to them and getting in it with them. Like our youngest, Eric, he likes he's into fishing. And so, mosquitoes out, dark outside, he don't care. He's outside throwing the reel. So my thing was, if I see him starting to shut down and not talk, when I ask him, how your day was, how was your day, man? How, what did you like, what did you not like? If I get those one-liners, I say, hey, you want to go fishing? Yeah, let's go fishing. And so, that shows him, you gonna do what I like to do? Oh man, I'll tell you anything. So we ride into the lake, and he's like, man, you wouldn't believe what such and such said at school today. I'm like, oh, for real, man, what they said? So being able to, and that's open, right? Because you know how it is. We come from a hard day's work. We put in the work. We want to just chill. But again, being open and intentional and getting, I won't say on their level, but being open to what they enjoy and genuinely is a really cool strategy that I've seen helps. And I know, like I said, it always changes, but being open to change and adjusting, I think, is vital.
Man, listen, guys, it's some powerful stuff that has been communicated on this line tonight. In fact, I don't even know if it's going to show up correctly. I figured it wouldn't. But the whole idea, I'm going to take this word game plan, and it's going to turn into something, because it's like coaching, and you have this set of plays that you want to run, and you practice it, but that when you talk about being effective, you also have not necessarily just a backup plan, but you have if-then situations. And you just got to build your plan in such a way that it's not perfect, but players need. And y'all just got my head going. I got game plan on this paper. Well, there it is right there. Game plan. So this is I can see it. Something, because we all may not have the same game plan because the game changes. But I think it's important to pivot in some areas, because just like what Mike was talking about, I got a nugget right there. I got several nuggets, but the nugget was, I asked myself, when I ask the questions, are they seeing the question as them investing in me or me invested in them?
Ooh, man.
That just hit me. So y'all did it. Y'all did that. It made me ask that question. I'm like, ooh.
Yeah. That's great right there. Yeah.
Oh, man. Because they can feel that, man. They can feel if they're being interrogated or if they are genuinely being inquired about how life is for them. Like we can feel it.
Right.
That's a good point there, man. I didn't catch that when we were talking about it. That's good stuff.
Oh, no,
and what happens as a follower? What happens when, as men, as males, we feel like we're being interrogated? We get defensive. We put walls up, right? And then you draw back, and that communication is lost. And so, oh man, that was good right there. Yes, sir.
So we're gonna revisit this. I said once, but we gotta revisit that because when you said it, it made me think. It's our viewpoint of our children at the different stages. Is it jarred in a sense? And if it's jarred, do we have them like this, or are we allowing them to flourish? Because good, when y'all said that, it made me think like, hold up now. Am I treating them like people? Because it gets a really fine line in there. Because I didn't think about when y'all said, when I get interrogated,
that's how we're wired. You know?
Absolutely. And if, like we started, TK, you said this, if we are dealing with a young version of ourselves, then we should not be surprised if they shut down on us when we take that approach.
Yes.
So that lights just came on for me. This has been phenomenal, man, being able to just bounce these
man. I love it.
And hear each other's responses. This I love being able to add to conversation, but I'm a student first. I'm always open, as the word, to learning, so that I can be a better father. And who better from than men that we became men together?
Man, yes, we did. Yes, we did.
Well, guys, man, it's been great for this first episode. I'm excited because this thing is taking just in this 40 minutes, it's taking a whole nother, my mind is just going right now of where this is going to go and the value that it can provide for fathers. And man. Yeah. Final thoughts from you all.
Yeah, TK. First of all, two things. First of all, thank you. Thank you for listening to your spirit to want to pull us together and have this conversation. I think it's always needed. Iron sharpens iron, right? And we can learn from each other. So thank you for pulling us together. Long overdue, but certainly glad that we're here. Finally, I just want to say, because we don't do this enough as men, so I'm going to do this right now, which is I commend both of you as kings of your household, as men, as husbands, as fathers, as professionals in our various respective career paths that we've taken. You guys are awesome. You're amazing. You're brother. We are brothers. We always have been since day one. I'm so thankful to be connected to each of you. And I know we're missing a few of our brothers tonight, and hopefully they can join us in the future. But bravo. We don't always get it right, but I know that we are doing the best that we can. And so just wanted to say that, because we don't, as men, we don't always praise each other, especially Black men, as much as we should. So I just wanted to make sure to give you your flowers right now. Job well done.
Thank you very much, and to you too.
Absolutely, thank you, man. You got to it before I did. I was gonna come across in a way of saying, man, I'm so proud to know you two. I'm so proud to be affiliated with both of you, as well as our brothers who are not on with us today, man. Everyone's doing outstanding in their own right, in their own respect. Present fathers, present spouses, just doing it the right way. And so kudos to each and every one of you. To the two of you that are on here, man, Tony, thank you for your vision. This is phenomenal.
Yes, sir.
I can't wait to see where it goes, and grateful to even be considered to be a part. And I think it's worth saying as well that our brothers who are not able to be on tonight are not on because they're being fathers. because they're
there you go.
things.
Yes.
Shout out to all my boys. I love y'all, man.
Absolutely.
Love y'all. Yes, sir.
And that's how I was going to end it. A lot of times as fathers, we don't say that word, but I want to say to you all, love you. And
love you.
I'm going to close this out. You can stay on just for a moment. We're going to have a quick conversation. All right. Y'all in the background. All right, guys. So thank you all for joining. It's man, we pay thousands of dollars to go to professional developments and all this other stuff. And these two gentlemen just cut me up, sharpen me up, and pushing me forward. And that's amazing. That's what brothers do. The older you get, you recognize that friends are the greatest asset that you can have. And I consider those two and my other brothers friends. So again, share this with a friend, share this with a father, share this with a mother, share this with a son, share it with someone, because there's value being added here. So thank you all for joining, and you all have a great rest of your night. Be great.